Welcome to this particular class where we will discuss about the entrepreneur versus manager, along with that intrapreneur also. So let us start this particular class with the understanding what exactly intrapreneur or manager means and what makes a difference in this. Before actually I start this particular session, let me make it very clear that we have discussed about the entrepreneurship and entrepreneur. Who is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur means, just to recapitulate, revise, recatch the key points. You can understand that entrepreneur is a person who uh, bear the risk of innovation, innovating something new in the uncertainty of the future. So important thing is that the risk bearing, the innovation, the organization, and the bearing the risk of future uncertainty about the innovation. These are the key points which any entrepreneur is supposed to look at, and to have these to do these activities. The entrepreneur is supposed to have certain skills. Those skills we have discussed in last class, and today we will just move with what makes a similarity or a difference between simple manager and an entrepreneur. So if we look at that, we will also discuss about the who is manager, but before, there is a terminology called intrapreneur. So who is an intrapreneur? So if you look at that intrapreneur is a basically an entrepreneur working from an organization. That means if you are an employee of any organization and you have some innovative or entrepreneurial thinking, entrepreneurial skill, and you add some new value to the existing product or services, being in an organization where you are not the owner, you are not bearing full risk, you are not responsible for financial arrangements or other things, but yes, you are supposed to innovate something new in order to add value to the product. So you become intrapreneur. So there is a very slight difference in intrapreneur and entrepreneur. So when we talk about this, many a time intrapreneur terminology comes. So you can understand that intrapreneurial culture, intrapreneurial skill converting into entrepreneurial skill is very common. If you look at that 60s, 70s in American continent, you will find that most of the present day companies and the promoters, they were at some point of time they were intrapreneur in some other company, and uh, the parent company had promoted them to go for innovation, and independently they opened a startup, and the company supported them, and company had given them even freedom to do any innovation. And likewise there are many startups which nowadays companies are promoting independently. Why independently? Because they know that the things are in same domain, and if you will become successful, then that will give another dimension to their business. And if you fail as an entrepreneur, as you fail, then you have a choice to return to your parent organization as an in your old portfolio. So this culture flourished very much in US continents, European continents, where the parent company promoted this innovative skills and innovative ideas, innovative business models from within their organization, and they provided all the financial supports, and they established a separate unit for that new innovation or startup, and the under subsidiary company or under a subsidiary unit or a separate unit. Like you can understand that these software companies like Microsoft or Google's, they are working in this line, and they are promoting the small startups and entrepreneurial culture. They ask their employees to innovate, and if something is promising, some idea or some innovation is promising, then they give finance also. They establish their separate units also, and they say that okay, you do independently, and if you become successful, so that will become a part of our parent business, and you will head that particular unit. And if you fail, you have choice to return back to your old position or job. So in India, basically, I don't find that level of freedom provided by the companies to their employees for innovation. But yes, you can understand that if you have being an employee, if you have an entrepreneurial skill, so you can come out of the job and then explore innovation and start a venture. Say for example, the old example that I do have in my mind, that comes like the company promoted by Corona Cosmetics, that produces plus detergent powder or plus detergent cake. That company was started by uh, a person who was earlier doing job for some big company, some big retail company, distribution company, and he had this entrepreneurial skill, and then um, you know being in a very senior position, he came out of the job, explored innovation, established a company, and which became a very successful company in detergent powder and detergent cake. So it may be that there are many examples. There are many examples. Say for example, the promoters of this Flipkarts, they were doing job for Amazon in US continent, and they were having this entrepreneurial skill. So they came to Asian part and then India, and then started this particular venture and became successful. Now like Bansal is doing in financial, is taking a chance in financial sector right now. So it depends that if you have entrepreneurial culture, you are, once entrepreneur means always entrepreneur. If you have innovative idea, if you have innovative guts in yourself, so you'll always keep on innovating things. But if you look at that manager is simple person who work for an organization, follow the organization instructions, organization practices to contribute business growth. The prime objective and aim is that manager, you know, draw that satisfaction, success from position, business success, and the contribution, his or her contribution to business growth of the organization. So overall focus is on doing job, effectively and efficiently, and that is a manager. Manager is supposed to work for an organization. It's not supposed to experiment with business model until unless he's not asked to do so. Means if that manager is in R&D section, research and development, he may be asked. If manager is asked by top manager, top positions, CEO or president or general manager, that yes, you have to innovate, you have to design, you have to do something, some modification in the product in order to cater the need of the customer. Suppose some problem comes in engine, and then manager is asked to rectify. So hit and trial with some innovation, something, he may use entrepreneurial skill. That may be possible, but only innovation is not entrepreneurial skill. Entrepreneurial skill means you have an enterprising brain. you understand the whole process. You understand right from A to Z. It is not that you only understand how to produce a product. You must understand how to produce a product, why to produce a product, for whom to produce this product, and how to market it, promote it. Where is your customer? You must know it. What type of customer? What your customer thinks, what your customer could do in future, what what business model you are going to adapt, what organization structure you are going to follow, what ownership framework you would like to be in your business. So all in all, entrepreneurial skill means you have all those activities known to you, and you understand what exactly it means to look for a business. So it is very common and very clear. So if you look at that, what makes a difference in entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship, please switch off your microphone. All are required to switch off your microphone, please. So if you look at that difference between entrepreneur and intrapreneur, you'll find that entrepreneur is basically the owner of that business, whereas intrapreneur is an employee. So this makes a very big difference. Owner always owns the complete risk of any profit or loss, any investment or anything. But whereas intrapreneur is not bearing risk of future uncertainty, one thing, not finance risk. So intrapreneur is basically being an organization. Please do not disturb. Please do not disturb. Who is making this noise? Just mute your microphone, please. All are required to mute your microphone. I again reply, I will just remove that student. So, okay, entrepreneur is basically free to innovate, whereas intrapreneur is not free to innovate. Restricted innovation is allowed for intrapreneur. Restricted innovation simply means that suppose some problem comes to the product, and then manager or the person inside organization is asked to do some innovation. So partial innovation is possible in terms of services or in terms of any other modification, but intrapreneur is not free to innovate anything. Gets, that means rewards. Usually if entrepreneur becomes successful, so rewards are success and profit that earns, whereas in case of intrapreneur, uh, not much profit to the person. Most of the profit, if successful, goes to organization. Entrepreneur is facing a financial problem also, because when you own a risk of doing something new, you have to arrange money, and then you need to understand what exactly what amount of money you need. And likewise, in case of intrapreneur, organizations are there to support you to bear some little bit financial load, or little bit understanding of sharing of that load. In case of entrepreneur, you have unlimited scope of using your skill, experimenting your skills, whereas in case of intrapreneur, you have very limited scope, very limited. Now coming on understanding that what makes a difference in entrepreneur and a manager. Look at, we have discussed many things, like you can understand entrepreneur is an owner of an organization, owns risk, Entrepreneur is free to innovate. Reward is the profit earned. Financial problem, obviously, unlimited scope we discussed. Vision matters. In case of entrepreneur, vision matters. Always be positive, and vision is important, that you must be able to visualize status of your business. Entrepreneurs, in an entrepreneur's case, motivation comes from achievement. If you become successful, if you achieve something, then that motivates you to do something new. Whereas in case of manager, employees are, not very much responsible for any innovation. They are not free. They are supposed to perform the traditional task, traditional jobs, traditional work they are assigned, and there is not so much scope of innovation. The only reward that they can get is the career promotion or incentives. So only career growth can be an outcome of if anything new they do. Whereas in case of financial problem, they don't have any financial issues because they are salary based person. Innovation scope is very limited. For them, it is not the vision, it is the job matters. For entrepreneur, vision matters. For a manager, job matters. So because vision means the complete organization matters. In this one, the job matters, and obviously the business growth matters. And managers are motivated. Motivation comes from the power, authority that they enjoy, that they are with the position, and they are motivated to do more and more things. Sometimes motivation is also coming from external things. I say external things. In motivation, you might have studied two factor theory, and in two factor theories, it is very important that for manager, the motivation is something else. Motivation means it is not the internal motivation that comes. In entrepreneur, it is the internal motivation, achievement, advancement, affiliation, success. Whereas in case of managers, the salary, the incentive, the promotion, the power, the authority, all these are the external activities, the external other factors. So there are two factor theory says that there are extrinsic factor and there are intrinsic factors. So entrepreneur are motivated with the intrinsic factors, whereas the managers are motivated from the extrinsic factors. Only if you look at these issues from that point of view. So this, I believe that you must have a little bit clear concept about this particular entrepreneur versus manager.